Chapter 8. They're going to kill again. Justine took the police photos of Wendy Borman's body to the office at Private. She also took a bag of Wendy's clothes. Cy can look at those, she thought. There may be DNA on them. Justine looked at the photos of Wendy, dead, behind the restaurant. 5 years ago, the police found Wendy's bag next to her, but her necklace was not there. Wendy always wore the necklace, and Justine found a photo of it. It had a star on it. Then she went to find Christine Castilla in school. Justine found Christine in the school restaurant. "Do you remember Wendy Borman?" she asked. "I was only 11, said Christine. "Yes, but can you remember anything? What did you see?" asked Justine. "A van stopped, and 2 boys got out and pushed a girl into the back. Then they drove away. It was very quick," said Christine. "And you saw the driver?" said Justine. "He had a long nose and big ears," said Christine. "And the van?" said Justine. "It was black. I remember a word on it. Gateway," said Christine. Gateway? This was new. Gateway was an expensive school in Santa Monica. "Thank you, Christine," said Justine. Cy worked for hours on Wendy Borman's clothes. He looked for DNA, and he found it, from 2 different men. "Yes!" he said. He heard someone at the door, and Mobot ran into his office. "Cy, they are going to kill again! This week! I looked at Jason's computer. There were thousands of messages, and I read them all. Look at this one." Morbid, Scylla. Here's the next woman. She lives in Silver Lake, and her name is Graciela. Steam cleaner. There was a photo of a young woman. "I'll call Jack," said Cy. Chapter 9. On Tuesday afternoon, Jack was in his office with Emilio. They knew something about the young women's killers now, but nothing about Shelby's. "Andy isn't a killer," Jack said. "Shelby's killer was a professional. There was no DNA, no gun, nothing. We need to talk to Carmine Noccia in Las Vegas." Carmine and his family knew every professional killer from California to Florida. Jack did not often work with men like Carmine. But once, Carmine asked for Private's help. His daughter ran away, and he wanted her back. Jack found her. Carmine never forgot a friend. "We'll fly to Las Vegas," Jack said. Carmine was very rich, and his home was in a park, half an hour from the airport. 2 big men came to meet Jack and Emilio at the door and took their guns from them. Carmine was in the sitting room. "Good to see you, Jack," said Carmine. "I need your help," said Jack. "Jack, you helped me, and I'll help you. But don't ask again," said Carmine. "Someone killed my friend, Shelby Cushman, in Los Angeles, a professional. Who was the killer? Do you know?" said Jack. "I don't know, but I can ask. I'll call you when I know," said Carmine. The call from Carmine came late at night. He only said 2 words: Beau Montgomery. Jack called Emilio early Wednesday morning. Emilio said he knew Beau Montgomery. Beau was a professional killer, and he lived on a horse farm in the Agoura Hills. Jack and Emilio drove there fast. They stopped near the farmhouse. A door opened slowly, and a man came out. He had a big dog, and in his arms was an AK-47. "What do you want?" he asked. "I'm Jack Morgan, from Private. I'm working for Andy Cushman. Someone killed his wife, Shelby. Who paid for that?" Beau Montgomery thought for a minute, and then spoke slowly. "I don't know, Shelby Cushman. I don't know any women in Bluffs." Then he wrote a name on the ground with the end of his gun. Jack looked at the name, and then Beau kicked it away. "Goodbye, Mr. Morgan," he said, "and please drive slowly. The horses get frightened." Chapter 10. DNA. Christine Castilla wanted to meet Justine again on Wednesday after school.
"Let's go to the coffee shop on Melrose Avenue," said Christine. "I'll remember better there about the boys and the van."
"Great," said Justine. The coffee shop was the same as 5 years before.
"My mum and I sat here,"
said Christine. She went to a table near the window. Justine had yearbooks for 3 years from Gateway School, with photos of all the students. She put them on the table. "Can you look at these? Maybe one of the boys is there." Christine turned the pages of the yearbooks. She stopped and looked at a photo of a group of boys.
"That's him,"
she said. She showed Justine. The boy had a long nose and big ears. Justine looked at the name under the photo. Rudolph Crocker. "Great job, Christine," she said. She opened her laptop and looked for Rudolph Crocker. There were 2 in Los Angeles. The first was 66 years old. The second worked for a small company on Wilshire Boulevard, and there was a photo of him. It was the boy, 5 years older. Now, Justine needed his DNA. Justine went to see Nora Cronin at the police station. "We have DNA from Wendy Borman's clothes," she told her. "It's from 2 men, but we don't know them. But I talked to Christine Castilla. We looked at some photos, and she saw this boy. He pushed Wendy Borman into the van. Look! She showed Nora a photo on her computer. His name is Rudolph Crocker. He's 23 now, and he lives and works in Los Angeles. Maybe this is steam cleaner. And you want his DNA? Said Nora. Yes. Can you help me? Said Justine. Nora and Justine stopped their car near Crocker's apartment building. They watched and waited. Crocker left the apartment at 6 p.m. and went for a run. He came home and at 8 p.m. he came out and got into a new dark blue Toyota van. He drove to a bar called Whiskey Blue and went in. The two women went into the bar after him. There were a lot of people in the bar. Crocker was in the corner with a man with long hair. Justine bought drinks, and the two women watched. Half an hour later, the men finished their drinks and left. Nora and Justine quickly went to the men's table and took the glasses. In the car, Justine called Cy. "Can you meet us at Private in 20 minutes?" she asked. "We have some DNA for you." Late on Wednesday, Jack and Emilio drove back to the city from the Agora Hills. Jack left Emilio at his apartment and went to see Andy Cushman. "Jack, why are you here now? It's 1 a.m. You look tired," said Andy. "I am tired," said Jack. "Today, I drove to the Agora Hills." "How much did you pay Bo Montgomery to kill Shelby?" Andy started to cry. "You don't understand, Jack," he said. "She was with another man, that movie star. I couldn't live with that." Jack did not speak. He hit Andy in the face 3 times and left.